I forgot. I hit the live button. I'm here. Sorry, I forgot I hit the live button. So those ones can come out. So go no, just pull the whole thing out. Nope, you're gonna need your hot pads. Sorry, should have gone over this with my husband to begin with. And then that's why there's the towel, because it will leak. And then dump them in the boiling water. So growing up on a farm,
There's a macaroni in here.
There's a macaroni. Well, that's because I just got done cooking her lunch. So growing up on a farm, we ate what was on the farm. We didn't really buy stuff from the grocery stores. So every summer, we would do service work at the church orchard, which means we would go pick peaches, thin peaches, pick peaches, sometimes work in the canneries and stuff for the church, and then the church takes those peaches and gives them to people who are hungry, or like welfare projects and things like that. Well, in picking those peaches, any peaches that hit the floor become contaminated, or sometimes if you have trees that are overripe, then those, I'm not seeing any comments. I wonder if comments are not working today. Oh, there's Ike Chukwu. Hey! Oh, well, no, it says he's watching. He didn't comment. Hey, Ike Chukwu, say hi. Anyway, so these peaches from here from Caldwell go everywhere from USA, Canada, China, Nigeria. I mean, they literally go all over the world. And it was part of our job, hey, Joanne, as a family to make sure that we did our service work. But in doing the service work, like I said, any peaches that hit the floor, you couldn't, hey, Ikechukwu, you could not put, so these could go just a bit longer, honey, because they're not coming off all the way. You couldn't put them in the bins because if there was contamination on the floor, it could contaminate the whole bin. So anyway, this Wednesday for our youth group, we went and picked peaches, hey Brandy, for what's called Mutual, which is like our youth group night. And so I went ahead and brought my bags and any peaches that hit the floor, which as you pick a peach, a lot of times the peaches will fall out of the tree. I would pick those up. But then as we were getting done, they said, hey, by the way, we have some overripe rows down at the bottom of the orchard if you want, because you've done service work, you can go pick them. So I picked like 4 bags of peaches. Let me show you the difference between, so these peaches that we do at the orchard, I swear, like, they're the biggest peaches you've ever seen in your life. So here's a standard Granny Smith apple, and there's a peach. Like, each peach is like a pound a piece. They're ginormous. So like if you're canning peaches, it fills up like a whole pint jar all by itself. So they're big, beautiful, nice peaches. But, so growing up, we always canned these peaches, and then that's what we would eat all year long. For breakfast every morning, we'd have my mom's homemade bread, and normally canned peaches or canned pears. And I thought my life was terrible because I wanted nice, beautiful, yummy, Cheerios, and instead I had canned peaches and homemade bread. Not realizing I was a bit spoiled, and that really, I was having a better breakfast than most. But anyway, I don't can peaches much anymore because the main way we eat peaches with my kids is my kids love them in smoothies. And so we, instead of canning them, I go through the same process you would do to can, but instead of once it gets to here, I put them in zipper bags, freezer bags, and we, instead of canning them, we then put them in the freezer. And they stay really good. They stay good.
We like them
in
fresh.
Smoothies.
No, we like them fresh in a bowl.
Yes.
And then the smoothies are frozen.
Yeah. Well, no, but like, so we eat them like this first, but obviously the peaches themselves will only stay good for about, for about 2 weeks is about all you can get from them shelf life-wise. I mean, if you put them in the fridge and to avoid them ripening up, but once they're ripe, they go bad really fast. So today, even though I didn't necessarily have time, today is peach day because these peaches are ready to be processed. So when I was a kid growing up, my job was always the blancher, which is what my husband's doing right now. And if you blanch a peach, you put it in boiling water. I can show you that process here in just a second. Can you scroll to see if we have more comments down there?
They're going up.
No, they're not. They're stuck.
Yeah. I just saw it move, though.
Oh, did you? No, I didn't. So, like I said, so a normal peach has hair all over it. And you can eat it. I eat it. I actually kind of like it, but sometimes it makes my throat itch really bad. And then normally to try to get the peach off, you have to cut it off unless it's really, really, really ripe. And it kind of can be tedious. But if you blanch your fruit, which means you take it from over there on the counter and then you put it in boiling water over there, and then you just boil it for about a minute, then you can just cut around your peach like this, and then the skins just come off in big sections. So thank you, Jessica. My dad built it for me. My husband and I put in all the floors and we did all the tile and everything, but my dad and my brother built my kitchen. So then you can just take your knife and slice it into slices around like this. And then you just, if you have a cleanless pit, then it will just all come off the pit. And you have beautiful slices of peaches. So yeah, that's the fastest way to do it. And then I do normally put them, so we have what we call our scrap bowl, which growing up, this is just the skins and the pits. And growing up on a farm, there was no waste, so this would go to the, this one's a little green, honey. And if they're,
put them all in.
oh, we'll kind of check. If they're green, don't put them in. If they're green, they're not going to pill as good. Thanks for the tip. You're welcome. Thanks, Teresa. My mom made it for me. This
those peels in the garden, though.
This is, well, we don't want to put the pits in the garden, though. No, they hurt to step on. So this material, my mom sewed all of my clothes growing up. And so these are actually, the blue and the red, I had dresses out of both of them. And so a couple years back for Christmas, my mom found the scraps. And so she went ahead and made me an apron out of my old dress fabric. Hi, Auntie!
Which
we
may
just
or
did the
may not
peaches a
have
few days
worn
ago.
out on the town.
Do you ever put the lemon juice in before you freeze them? You definitely can. I do not. Not because, honestly, we just didn't do that growing up, but that's probably, you definitely can.
Though.
Yeah, they don't. Like, especially if you squeeze, like, all the air out of them. Yeah, so see, honey, that one was way too green. I mean...
Okay, well, you might have some... I don't know. I don't know. To me, they all feel the same.
The pigs in the kitchen. I love the pits. The pigs and the chickens. Yeah. So, yes, so the chickens and the horses always got our leftovers. I know that you can take the peach skins and, like, process them, like, Victoria strain them or put them in, like, a juicer or put, like, whip them up and stuff, but we never did that. We always just gave them to the chickens. But I don't have chickens here, so they're just gonna, my husband actually wants to put the skins in the garden because they'll be good for compost, but the pits will just go in the trash. And the pits have, what's it called? Little bits of, they're poisonous. You can't eat the pits if you eat too much.
Has cyanide.
Is it cyanide? I thought peach pits had cyanide in them too.
They might, yeah, most pits have cyanide in them.
Ow!
Sorry. I took care of a guy in the hospital that had ate the meat out of the inside of the pit. Mm-hmm. And he had cyanide poisoning.
Yeah, so don't eat your pits. Not your armpits, your peach pits. Alright, so like I said, you just go around, and if they're ripe like they're supposed to be, the skin just totally comes off. So like I said, growing up, my job was the blancher, which meant I had to go around. This one's still not quite. It's really tricky because they can literally from morning till night be ready and not ready. And so you can have peaches and you think, oh, they'll be fine till tomorrow. And you wake up the next day and half your box is moldy. It's kind of like strawberries or raspberries. They can go from good to bad crazy fast. And so it's better to process them when they're a little more on the green side versus the overripe side. Otherwise, you'll lose half of your produce due to it going bad on you overnight. Probably none of them you'll want to do from the the grocery bag because those ones were the ones that were still ripe on the tree but fell off. You're welcome, Kimberly. I love freezing peaches for my smoothies. It's a great way to save a few minutes. I've just freezing them with a fuzz on them. Oh, really? Yeah, I know some people can do that. This is just the way I've always done it.
When you freeze them and you make a smoothie out of it, that kind of substitutes the ice cream, so it helps the smoothie get nice and firm. And you don't really want pea in your smoothie.
Hi.
You saying hi? And you do have to be careful because sometimes you'll get, like, as you can see this, it comes off, but it's actually part of the pit. So you got to be careful that that doesn't end up in your smoothie. Hey, Brina. Yeah.
Hi, Lena.
Mangoes, I think. No, they're peaches. You want to say hi? You want to come up here and help me? Except for I didn't realize you were in your underpants, but that's okay. You're in your underwears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a pull-up.
Oh, pull-up. She's in a pull-up, not her underwears. All right. So then from this point, we are going to take a freezer bag and we're going to, and you want to try to make sure that they're cool. They should come out pretty much cool, but if you left them in the boiling water too long, they will retain some heat. So you want them to be cool. And I'm going to fill it up about halfway. And then I'm going to really squish the air out as much as I can. And then I'm going to go ahead and flatten it out because you want it to be flat when it freezes. One, so it can freeze all together, evenly. Now, if I was to go put a stack of them like this big into my freezer, it's going to take a long time for the freezer to get it frozen all the way through this huge, huge stack. So what it's better to do is actually try to make them flat, make space in your freezer, and put them in for about an hour of time, one layer, and then that should pretty much freeze them through, and then you can then take them and stack them. You found some tiny ones? And stack them from that point, and then they'll be nice and stackable. But if you put them in the freezer like this, they're going to be harder to stack. They're going to be thicker. It's going to be hard for your freezer to freeze them quickly. And and in the process, I just kind of lay them all out on my counter because the granite's really cold, and it's going to go ahead and keep those nice and cold for you. Have you ever used a vacuum sealer? Judy, I have, and I've used it in the past. I've loved it. The bags are just kind of expensive. Sometimes you get I just go back to the way I grew up doing it. Like, I think the vacuum sealer is awesome. In fact, my mom uses the vacuum sealer a lot, but I've just gone back to this way. I don't think that one's necessarily better than the other, but this is just the way that I do it. All right, so then, like I said, we're just going to flatten them out. Do you have peaches in there, honey?
Mm-hmm. You added more water, so it's okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, and every time you add more water, you have to kind of wait for it to heat back up again. But like I said, we have our peach. It's been blanched, which means it's been boiled for about 45 seconds to a minute. And then the peels. And different varieties of peaches peel better than others. So if you try this and it just flat out doesn't work, most likely it's because your variety of peach that you use isn't a good peeler, or it means they're too green, or it means you didn't cook them enough. But even these, the skin is struggling to come off a little bit, but that's because, what's it say? Stick the bag and water with the bag almost closed until, oh yeah, Hillary, let's try that. I've done that before. Cheaply way to almost vacuum seal without the special bags and stuff. Let's try that. I love that tip. I've actually seen it. I've just never done it. I always just squeeze it like I just showed you guys. And like I said, if you just go through and make slices in your hands, then when you come it off, they all come off in slices. And it's just a faster way to do it. But you do need to check to make sure bits of the core aren't coming off inside your peach. Now I want a peach. These peaches are so good, guys. A fresh peach from the farm, seriously it tastes totally different than a normal peach. So I'm going to show you. This one has some bad spots on it, but all you got to do is cut that off. Whoops. All you got to do is cut that off, and then underneath is good peach. And where a lot of these are what's called gleaned peaches, which means because we went and did service work out there, and all these peaches went to feed hungry people, or will be going to feed hungry people. The ones that hit the ground, they can't process because those have been contaminated because they've touched the ground. And so then we can then pick those up and take them home.
Damaged already.
Or they're damaged. Or what happens is because they hit the ground, they get a huge bruise spot, and that spot will go bad way faster than the rest. And as soon as one peach starts going bad, it like spreads fuzz and it juices, and it makes the whole batch go back worse a lot faster. Cut them around the other way and twist. Peaches come off seeds immediately. Okay, I'll try that too. I've always cut them that way. All right, stay back. Daddy's got hot ones. Okay, so after you blanch them, you want to immediately put them in cold water because you want to stop the cooking process right away. Because if you keep cooking them, the peaches just get kind of like all mushy, kind of like peach pie, and that is not what we're shooting for. We're shooting for nice, fresh, firm peach slices that just don't no longer have the fuzz on them, if that makes sense. So, all right. So somebody else said to cut them this way. Never done it that way, but I'm willing to try. All right. Oh, see, look. So this one was. As you can see, this one has some bad spots on it. So all we got to do is cut that off. And this one is, and then, look, the skin just comes right off. It's like magic. Saves you all sorts of time. All right. So then, if I cut it, oh, see, cutting it this way is harder for me. I'll keep trying. I'm open to suggestions. But it almost came off the peach the pit a little too good for me that way. And I want them to be able, I want to keep them in my hand. What are we making here? Letty, we are just freezing peaches. As you can see, my counter back there is full of peaches. We went and did service work in our church farm. And so we went and we picked peaches. We're actually in charge of specific rows, if that makes sense. So like our congregation is assigned trees. And so in the springtime, we are assigned to go thin those peaches. And in the late summer, we are assigned to pick those peaches. And when we pick those peaches, we put them in bins, and then they go to canneries. And then other congregations are then assigned or asked to volunteer their time in the canneries. And then those canneries can the peaches, and then those go to welfare projects or hurricane relief, tsunami relief. Like, the peaches literally go all over America, all over the world. They go to China, they go to Africa, they go everywhere. Come on, late. How long do you blanch if I'm going to make fruit leather for my 7-year-old's lunchbox? Okay, Rachel, once you get your water boiling, let me finish this, then I'll show you. So once you get your, I just cut it in half again, I'm not sure why I did that. Make smaller pieces, but once you get your water boiling, you want to blanch it for just a minute to 45 seconds. It also kind of depends on how, you're welcome. So, but then any fruit that falls off the trees is contaminated. One, it gets bruised, and two, it's touched the dirt, and they don't want those contaminants into the peaches. And so there's peaches all over the orchard. So after you're done working, you can go through and take your bags, and you can take home the peaches. Or for this example, some of those bags are ones that fell fruit, and then other ones are ones that the peaches are too ripe. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see this, like they're so ripe that I can press in them, and so just the weight of the fruit itself sitting on top of each other would cause these to go bad, and they couldn't process them quick enough. And so instead, they just allow the people that have worked to pick the overripe fruit. It's not overripe, it's actually perfectly eating fruit. It's the perfect fruit, but it's too ripe to process, if that makes sense. To process. So to can and freeze and all that stuff for machinery, but not for people that are just doing at home in our kitchen. So how the process works is you can just use boiling water, but I actually have a strainer system. So you put the you wait for it to get to a boil. Once it's got to a boil, go ahead and throw the peaches in. So throw those peaches in. Because these peaches are so big, only 3 fit at a time. I kind of showed you guys a size comparison earlier. You need to get me wet? Okay, so here's a normal size, a large Granny Smith apple, and here are the peaches we're working with. They're huge! They're bigger than anything you're going to find in a store unless you really, really go to like a specialty store or like a farmer's market. And in fact, these ones are so big that they don't fit in the processing machines at the cannery, and so when they're this big, they tell us to just take them home because the machinery can't process them because they're too big, because the machinery at the cannery is meant to process more normal sized peaches, and as you can see, these are like James and the Giant Peach peaches. So once they go in there, you want to blanch them for like 45 seconds to a minute, and then you want to dump them into really cold water because you want to stop the cooking process. Because if you cook them too long, then the meat or the flesh of your peach is going to get all it's going to get all soft and smushy, and it's going to be more like peach pie, where if we were going to eat these and can them, we want nice peach slices. We don't want mushy fruit. And so if we were going to can these, we would then put them in glass jars, and we would shake them down to make sure that we get all of the air out of it. And then we would pour a sugar, lemon juice, water solution over that, and then we'd have to clean the jars off, put the seals on, and then we would have to process those. We would have to boil them, make sure they seal and everything like that. That's how we did it growing up, and we did hundreds and hundreds of jars a year, and I hated it. And I thought my mom was the meanest mom ever because other people were watching Full House on the couch, and I was canning peaches for days on end. But we also had amazing canned fruit all year long. Autumn, we are showing you how to blanch and freeze peaches. And so I don't can them though, I just freeze them. And the reason we freeze them is because my kids really enjoy fruit smoothies, and so it's easier for me to just, so if you do that, see how the skin just pulls right off. So for us, for my family, we just enjoy frozen peaches more. Obviously, we like them fresh best, but there's no way to preserve them totally fresh on the pit, so this is like the next best thing. So I'm just going to go cut all the way around, and then it makes all these slices, and then they just come off like this. Make sure that you don't have any pit stuck to the inside. Ouch. You gotta be careful. So the inside of the peach will look like that, and sometimes your pit will kind of come off in pieces. I've never seen peaches that huge. Yeah, normally in order to find peaches this size, you have to kind of find them right from the orchard. And like I said, since it's a service orchard, so all the peaches go to feed hungry families all over the world. How many peaches do you think they do? Like, I know I say that sounds crazy, but I'm seriously, like, these peaches literally go all over the world, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, of trees. And so, like, our congregation is in charge of probably 80 trees. 80 trees. So just our congregation is in charge of 80 trees, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, of trees.
There's thousands.
And if you don't go do your service work, the fruit just goes bad. And so
that's just the peaches, because they also have pears.
Yeah, they have pears and apples and cherries and
apricots,
all sorts of stuff. Oh, I'm good. If you guys are just how long do you boil the water for? You want to bring it to a boil, and then you want to. You got one. Good job. Once you put them in, you only want to leave them in for about 45 seconds to a minute.
That's after.
After it comes, it needs to come back up to a boil.
And then leave it in 30 to.
And then the skins just come right off. But you do need to put them in cold water to shock them back, because you don't want them to continue cooking, because otherwise you'll end up with kind of soggy fruit. If you guys are just joining my page for the first time, I would love, 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 love it if you would like our Facebook page. We do all sorts of fun videos. We do everything from how-tos to reviews to just normal mom tips. We do pearl parties a lot of times in the evenings. We do all sorts of fun stuff. So if you're just joining us for the first time, please go ahead and hit that like button. You can like the video for one, but go like our page, A Thrifty Mom, on Facebook. Thank you.
That baby one.
Hey, Judy and James.
I want that baby one.
You want the baby one?
Yeah.
And like I said, if you have a bad spot, do not throw away the whole peach. I mean, you can if it gets all the way through it, but normally you can just cut that out. And some of these peaches will have a little more bad spots than others just because some of them were tree fall, which they fell off the trees while we were picking the other fruit. And
Mommy, that one's in.
you got that one? All right, our bowl over here is getting kind of full. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and try. Somebody suggested that when I,
Here, Mommy.
since this water is kind of gunky from there, I'm going to try it over here. Hang on a second, baby.
Just a minute.
Make that one,
I'm going to try her. Oh, you don't have to. No, it's fine. No,
Wait,
it's
gets
fine.
fresh.
It's okay.
Don't put it on the floor.
Thank you for liking. Are you making candy peaches? Nope, we are just taking the skins off, and then we are freezing them, and then that way we'll have fruit smoothies
All winter.
all winter long, and they're so much better. My kids won't eat canned, like from the store peaches.
Mommy, I need to chew it.
Okay, we're going to try what this lady said. So we are going to fill a bag full of peaches. I'll do that one in a second, honey. And like I said, you want to go ahead and make sure the peaches are kind of cool. And then as we freeze them, we'll freeze them in a single layer. And the reason we're going to do that is if you pile all the peaches in one big spot, it's going to be too hard for the
Cold to get.
for the cold. It's going to take too long to freeze, and your middle peaches can literally go bad in the freezer if you have like a huge cube of peaches. Hi from Ireland. We have a chest freezer out in our garage, which is not it's a stand-up freezer, but it is the same size as our refrigerator, but it's only a freezer, if that makes sense. It's pretty common for big families in our area to have a freezer in the garage. That works pretty good. So it kind of squoze all the air out, and then we're just going to lay them flat. We're going to put them on the granite countertop over here because it's nice and cold, and that'll help kind of keep them cold. How many of you guys have, watching from the Philippines, hey, how many of you guys have freezers in your garage that's like just a freezer, not a fridge?
Not a beer fridge.
Yeah, not a beer fridge, but a freezer. And you use it dedicated just for frozen stuff. I'm from Oklahoma. How you doing? All right. That works pretty good. So we're using that to kind of vacuum seal it because the water is pressing all the air up to the top. It's not as vacuum sealed as what a vacuum sealer would be, but it definitely works good. I do. I want a freezer in my garage. I sure do. Yeah, I don't know if it's like if that's just an American thing.
We have a freezer in a fridge in our garage.
Well, but that's
We have
not
7
normal.
people
But
in our
that's
family.
yeah, we have 7 people. So a lot of times if we go to the store,
You get 4 gallons of milk. They're not all going to fit in your fridge inside the house.
yeah, I have 2 freezers in my garage. Watching from Louisiana. Yeah, see, so we're not crazy. But like we just had family here from France, and their fridge is more like the size of and their house is more like the size of like an RV fridge. So when they see our
It's like
American
we
fridge,
would call it an apartment fridge.
okay, an apartment fridge.
Yeah. Like really skinny, narrow.
So when they see our American fridge, they think it's huge, and then they walk out into the garage and they see a full freezer and a fridge. They're like, "What is wrong with you?" But as we were feeding 15 people, those 2 fridges sure came in handy.
Oh yeah.
We also have a small chest freezer in the kitchen, plus the fridge with a freezer, right? I have just a stand-up freezer, and I have a fridge also in the garage. See, we're not crazy. I'm from Colorado. My mom did this before winter. Okay, I'll do it here in just a second, sweetie. You're doing a good job helping me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as much as I hated that my mom made me do this, so let me show you the difference between, so these are the ones I did in the water. You can see how they're vacuum sealed, and these are the ones I just tried to squoze out. So you definitely get more air out doing it in the water than this way. So that was a really good tip.
Hi.
You can do this same thing.
Mommy.
Hi guys!
Yeah, Mommy.
Okay, we'll get in a second. You can do this same thing with corn too. You can blanch the corn with the same process, cut it off, and then put it in the bag, and you'll have the best corn you've ever tasted in your life.
Yeah,
especially if you just bought it from, not if you bought it from like Walmart or something, but if you go buy it from the farmer's field, it's amazing.
We call it freezer corn, and freezer corn come like December, January is like awesome.
Yep, it tastes totally different. It makes all your soups taste better, or just as a side. It's pretty amazing how good it tastes. Hi there from Scotland. I have 2 freezers, one in the kitchen and one in the hall cupboard. Ha ha ha! See, it's not just an American thing. I have a feeling that Quirky Mama maybe shared our page because we're getting lots of people from other countries. Alright. Now you can, if you want, you can go ahead and put these juices in a bag because like I said, all it is just pure peach juice. It does become a little bit harder to thaw with the juices in there, but you can definitely put them in there. I have a friend that thaws hers in the microwave, but that just seems wrong to me. So I just put them out on the countertop, and normally within about an hour or 2 they're ready to use. Or if I haven't thawed ahead, then I go ahead and just run them under some hot water, and that normally breaks the bag up to enough. And if you have a good blender, like I have a, what type of blender do we have? Blendtec. If you have a good blender, it will blend up that frozen fruit really good. What state are you in? I'm from Idaho. Are the peaches boiled? Anna, you could call it boiled, but they're called blanched, so it's a quick boil. So, ooh, this one you can tell the peach, the pit has come apart, and the pit is moldy. So, at that point, some of you guys aren't used to canning. You're probably going to be like, disgusting! But often the pit itself will go bad, and the rest of the peach is totally fine. So you just cut that rotten spot out. And for all y'all that aren't used to processing your own fruit, you're thinking gag, right? But little do you know that's what they're doing in the factory when you buy it in the can. So then we just have a really good, nice half of a peach here. And we're just going to go ahead and put that in there. And then, like I said, we're just going to cut this pit out. And you can cut out the rotten spot, and inside is a perfectly good peach. I'm in Ireland. I have a freezer. Thank you guys for sharing. And if you're just watching our video for the first time, we would love to have you like our page. We have lots of fun over here. A lot of times I have my other kids in the video too. I'm a mom of 5 kids, but right now they are all at school other than little Miss Madeline. But you start preschool next week, huh?
Yeah.
Did we go meet your teacher last night?
Yeah.
She's so nice, huh?
Yeah.
All my kids have gone to the same preschool. She's actually a family friend. She's a teacher, but then decided to stay home so she could be with her kids, so now she teaches preschool. So you toss the used skins. So the skins are really, let me show you. The skins are super, super fuzzy, and they, you could process them with the skins, but they're not like an apricot skin where you eat them. They're really itchy, they're fuzzy, and that fuzz is really, really irritable. And so here, let me show you the size difference between. So these are the peaches we are using from the orchard. See how big they are compared to a normal Granny Smith apple. So you could process these if you're using fruit leather or something like that. Another thing too is if people happen to be allergic to stuff, a lot of times they're more allergic to the fuzz than the peach themselves. And so I often take the skins off because if I don't eat the skins, they don't irritate my throat. But if I eat the skins, they do irritate my throat, if that makes sense. So if you were going to then, you singing me songs? If you were going to make fruit leather out of these, you could just blend up the whole peach or take the skins off. But like I said, this is the fastest way to get the skins off. And then you could lay them out on a food dehydrator, or you could put them in a sheet on parchment paper and slow bake them until they turn into leather.
But we're just going to put them in the garden.
Yes. So we are saving the skins in one bowl, and we'll put those in the garden so they can compost. And then the pits, they don't decompose like they should, so we'll just throw those away. Growing up on a farm, though, all the pits and the skins both went to the chickens and horses, and if we had pigs, they went to the pigs. But we only had pigs a couple years because pigs are stinky and gross, and I mean, that sounds awful. They're kind of cute when they're little, but once they get much older than that, they just get gross. And I was a farm girl, and I like lots of different animals, but pigs were never my favorite. I'm in Mississippi on the coast. Wish my trees would grow fruit that big. We have to have 3 freezers for my husband and his deer hunter. Yeah, so my husband, he hunts some, but I don't like wild game that much. I think it's because I don't know how to cook it properly.
Now, wait. Western game compared to Eastern game is night and day difference.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because Western game has all the sage, and that's what gives it that nasty gamey flavor.
Oh, okay. So our
But
game,
back
I guess.
east, they taste really good because they eat corn and grass all day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So our wild game tastes funky, and I don't really particularly care for it. And I grew up on a dairy farm, and so we always had our own meat. But it was normally like when a cow would not make it because she had a bad delivery or she broke her leg or something like that, we would butcher her out, which I know that might sound inhumane to some of you guys, but they're going to die anyway, so we would go ahead and butcher them, and we would eat that. So I was used to only cow growing up, only beef. Only beef. Dairy beef, which isn't very good beef, but that's what I was used to. So I'm not used to the wild game. So elk and deer and stuff like that has a different flavor, and I'm just not overly fond of it. What is this, Rosie? We are blanching peaches for the freezer. So I'm just showing you the fastest way to peel a peach. So you throw the peach in the boiling water for about a minute, 45 seconds to a minute. After it needs to come to boil, and then throw it in there.
Whoa.
Is to plunge them the whole into the boiling water for 3 to 4 seconds. Remove the plunge with ice. Yeah, and then, yep. So that's exactly what we're doing. But honestly, 3 to 4 seconds isn't going to give you quite enough time unless they're really, 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 really crazy ripe.
Maybe a tomato, but
Yeah, a tomato, you can do it that fast. And it might depend on the variety of peach, too. Because even some of these peaches, we don't quite, this one seems a little green, so I'll be surprised if the skins just come off. I mean, it does, but see how it's not just sliding off? You have to kind of pick it off more. Watching from Wisconsin. It looks easy. Thanks, you're welcome. Hey, Heather. Yeah, peaches are probably one of my favoriteest fruits ever, but they're really only in natural, fresh, good job, season for about a month, and that's different varieties. So, like these are red globe peaches, and so this variety is an early August variety, and so that's why, but then they have different varieties that ripen up at different times of year.
You know peaches come from China?
I did not know peaches came from China.
Yeah, I learned that yesterday.
You got them for me?
I got 2.
Yeah, you got 2. Now how many do you have? 1. And how many does Mom have? How long do they stay good in the freezer? I don't know the FT the Food Administration or the food recommendation. I'm assuming that they would probably say 3 to 4 months or something like that. We eat them all year long. Growing up, sometimes we would make more than we necessarily needed, and we would eat them up to a year and a half, sometimes even a little bit more. They do start getting not as good at that point, so we would definitely 6 months to a year, especially if you get all the air out. If you don't get the air out, then they're going to go bad a lot faster. So if you vacuum sealed them, that probably would double that freezer time, I would say. So you put the fruit fresh on them so they don't turn brown. Angie, if you process them fast enough, they don't turn brown. If you blanch them, bag them, freeze them, all within a quick amount of time, and make sure that they get cold, and that they don't have air, it's the air that turns them brown, then they don't turn brown on me. But you could definitely add some if you would like. I know some people will add lemon juice to them or the fruit fresh. Thank you. I'm new to all this. You're welcome. I'm watching from Couture. Where can I follow your videos? Just go ahead and like our A Thrifty Mom page, our A Thrifty Mom, our A Thrifty Mom Facebook page. How do you say that? Qatar. Yeah, clearly I'm not as skilled in my geography as I should be. I have no idea where that is. Middle East? Oh, that's probably why I don't know. Those were in the high school years where I was learning those things, and I'd learn it for the test, and I forgot. All right. That's all right. I bet if I said Caldwell, Idaho, they wouldn't know where that is, and they probably don't know where Idaho is either. Maybe they do. Maybe they're super smart. Super duper smart. Most of the time I say I'm from Idaho, and people are like, "Oh, I love Ohio," and I'm like, "No, not Ohio, Idaho." You want to hear an Idaho? No, maybe I shouldn't. I should say there's a potato joke, but I won't tell it. But it's Idaho. Like I said, so at this point you totally could can them. And the difference between canning and freezing is canning is we would put them in a glass jar, and you would do the same process that we're doing here, but then you would fill the jar up, and then you would want to take your jar and you want to shake it down to get all those air out as much as you can. Fill it back up again. You want to leave about a ½ inch of headspace on there, and then you're going to fill it up with like lemon juice, sugar water combination. And then you need to clean the seal off really good, put a rubber seal on and a screw top. And then you, I don't remember the processing time, but you have to cover them with water and boil them. And I believe they're a high acidity one, so you can just water bath them. You don't have to pressure cook them. In fact, I'm almost positive on that. But I prefer not to can, so we just do this. Yeah. Hi from Maine. Best way to peel a peach? Oh, yeah. So you're just repeating what you said earlier. Thanks, guys. Peel slips right off. I know where Idaho is. My cousin lives in Idaho Falls. Awesome, Judy! Yeah, my husband moved from Georgia.
No.
No?
Charlotte.
Charlotte, North Carolina to Idaho Falls about 19.
Right after Hurricane Hugo.
So how long ago was that?
And that was in '89, so we moved in '90.
Oh, so like 30 years ago. Ish. Dang, you're an old man.
Yeah.
There's another big hurricane coming down to the like Texas area.
No, it's a tropical storm.
Oh, I thought it was. Okay, well I guess it's a tropical storm. I thought it was a hurricane.
I don't think it is yet.
Alright, so sometimes your pit's going to fall in half. At this point, you just want to make sure that you normally see, and then I pulled it out and see how some of this it got stuck in there. So you want to make sure you get that out, because you can bust a tooth if the pit kind of comes apart on you like that. And you don't want to bust a tooth on your peach. So a lot of times I'll just then cut it out, that way I don't have any little fragments of pits in there. Hurricane Harvey, I believe. Yeah, Hurricane Henry or Harvey, one of those.
Must have just been upgraded.
Do they always call them an H?
No, they're alphabetical.
Oh, they're alphabetical. I was like, because yours was Hurricane Hugo, right?
Yeah.
So evidently it's been 30 years and they're going through the alphabet again. How do you feel about that? Now you're really old.
They go through the alphabet like every year.
Oh, do they? Oh, sorry. I'm sure how much I know about tropical storms. I'm from northern Mississippi. I can all the time. It's so easy to can in jars. Yeah, I just, maybe it's me being a rebel and knowing that okay, so no joke, we would can very minimum of 200 quarts of peaches a year, upwards of 300 to 400 sometimes, but more like at least a couple hundred quarts of peaches every year. And so if you can, you know how long that takes. And so I don't know, we just freeze them. That's easier for me.
And then when you blend them up into a smoothie,
yeah, and we brew them in, we blend them into smoothies, and when you do that, then they're already frozen, so you don't have to put as much ice in there, and they just work better for the smoothies. So depending on kind of like how you eat them, if you wanted to just eat them fresh, you probably would want to can them because that's a better way to preserve them. But if you want them for smoothies, this is kind of like the better way, in my opinion. What do you do with the peaches, or do the kids just eat them? Candy, you could totally just let the kids eat them at this point. I mean, you just have a big bowl of giant, beautiful peaches, but we then put them in a bag, and a reader actually just gave me this tip to help get more air out. So I'm putting them in a quart freezer bag, and we're just going to put the peaches in there. And we're going to fill about half full. That way we can lay it flat because we want to be able to make sure that the freezer can get all the way to the middle in a quick amount of time. So we're putting this under here, and the water is helping us push the air out of the bag. And we're sealing it as we go. Okay, so then we have, and then we're going to squish them out flat. And we have almost all the air out of there that we can. And we're going to lay them on our cold stone counter, and that will kind of continue to keep them cold. And then I'll go lay them one layer at a time in the freezer. And what this does is it allows them to freeze individually, and then we can stack them. But if I was to put all of them in the freezer at once, it'd be too big of a mass for the freezer to try to get the cold all the way to the very center, and your fruit can actually spoil while in your freezer trying to get the middles cold. That's only if you were to fill your whole freezer full of peaches, but we may or may not have done that at one time, and that's how we learned that you can't do that. You're doing it! Good job! Okay, put the skims in here. Oh yeah, just put it right there. I know, but what do you do with the peaches? You don't freeze them forever. Oh! Carly, we, at this point, we then take them out, and the most common way we use them is for fruit smoothies in the morning. They're frozen, so you don't have to necessarily add ice. And then we add vanilla yogurt, sometimes a banana, sometimes some strawberries, a little bit of vanilla, and it makes the most amazing peach smoothie ever. It's so good. And the vanilla and the yogurt so it's kind of just like a peach cream smoothie. Or we just put whatever fruit we have in there with them. But super, super, super yummy. Oh, and orange juice. We always add orange juice to it too. What do you make with all these peaches? And then we also do peach cobbler. So we'll take the peaches out. You can add a little bit of cornstarch and water slurry to it just to thicken it up a little bit. Sugar, cinnamon, and then do an oat crumble on top, which is oatmeal, brown sugar, and butter, and cinnamon and sugar on top, and then bake it, and it's amazing. We do that too. But fruit smoothies would be the #1 way that we eat them. How do I cut them? I'll show you here in just a second. But growing up, how we would eat them canned was we would actually put them in the blender when we make peach sauce. And then my mom made homemade bread every day, which I always wanted Wonder Bread. Isn't that funny that you always want what you don't have? And so we would have homemade bread, we would toast it, butter, and then we would dip our toast into our, kind of like applesauce, but it was peach sauce. Okay, so how you cut them, so this has been blanched, and this one's really ripe, so you can see the skins are just coming off. This one's one of those ones that probably could have been in the water for like 10 seconds and it would have been ready. But it just came out of the water, so it's a little warm. So I'm going to put it back in the water so it can get really cold because we need it to stop cooking right away. Alright, so the skin came off like that, and then I just go around with my knife and cut them into slices. And then they just come off a slice at a time. Easy as that. It's the fastest way you'll ever cut up a peach. First time viewer, how do you save your site? Davina, you're going to want to click on our A Thrifty Mom, or just go ahead and click on our video so you're watching just that, and then you should see our A Thrifty Mom right there in the title. And go ahead, hey honey, can you actually just put our Facebook page in the thing? And then click on our Facebook page and then just hit like. And then you can find us again. We would love to have you like our page. So you see how the skins just totally come off? And then bottom to top, bottom to top. Whoop. And you kind of just keep the whole thing in your hand all the way around. And then just pop the pieces off. Make sure you don't have any pit stuck in there. And then if you're wondering what this looks like on this side, I have a whole bowl full of the skins. These are going to go into our garden for compost. You could blend them all up if you wanted. Some people do like the peaches, but for the skins, but they kind of make my throat itch. And then the pits will just go in the trash. I think, so if you can see this one, I think it's yeah, it has. It's totally split in half. So sometimes the pit will split, and when this happens, you just need to be really careful because a lot of times the pit has gotten really soft, and you don't want to accidentally break a tooth on it. So I just cut the whole pit out at this point. That way you get all of the little pieces. That way it doesn't end up in your smoothie or something and you chomp down on it. But the peach itself is good, just the pit had fallen apart. You did such a good job. You peeled all that skin off all by yourself? Good job. I'm proud of you.
I need my hand.
You wash your hands?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mommy, move.
Move, please. Thanks so much for the... You're welcome. British Columbia, eh?
La, 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 la.
Right. What are you doing? Are you making faces at people? Can you make fruit leather with the frozen peaches? You absolutely can. You would need to pull them out, blend them up, and then put them on a, what's it called? Put them on a dehydrator, or you can just put them on parchment paper in pans in your oven and cook them slow. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's like 200 or 180 or something like that. You'd have to look up the exact recipe. It's been a while since I've made fruit leather. And I think you do need to put a little bit of lemon juice in it. So they don't brown too much, although it'll get incredibly brown, the peach. It won't stay like a yellowy color at all. What is fruit leather? It's kind of like dehydrated fruit sauce. That's a good way. Yeah, it's dehydrated fruit sauce. So you blend the fruit up, and then you bake it until it's dehydrated, and so it's kind of like a really healthy...
It's like dried fruit.
A really healthy fruit. What are those things called that we don't buy for our kids? What are they called?
Fruit snacks?
No, not fruit snacks. The fruit roll-up. There we go. Thank you, Amelia. It's like a really healthy fruit roll-up. We used to buy fruit roll-ups every now and then. We buy them, but very, very seldom because. Okay, I'll do it in just a second. Our kids turn into psychos when we give them. I don't know if it's like the red dye in it or sugar, but I love my children, but I do not like them once they've eaten fruit snacks or fruit roll-ups. For some reason, they turn into like cranky little zombie. And we're not like one of those family that like doesn't eat sugar. We do eat sugar. I mean, we But for some reason, those are like on the list at our house.
No.
You want to do it yourself?
No, I can't.
You can't do it yourself? You need some help?
Yeah.
You want me to do this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't do that.
So we're going to cut around it.
2 more batches left.
2 more batches and we're done. What if, are all those ones not ripe enough to do?
So,
We still have a whole counter full of peaches over there.
Mommy, can't you get
It always seems like a good idea to keep picking them up off the ground at the orchard until you start processing them the next day. Then you're like, what was I thinking? They preserve, yeah. So yeah, it's preserved fruit roll-ups. There we go. Thank you.
Do it that way.
without all the sugars.
Yeah. Did I get peach juice in your face? I'm sorry.
No, you won't.
I wasn't? Oh, okay, good. I thought maybe I got peach juice in your face. So yeah, growing up we did canned green beans. Sometimes we do canned potatoes, canned peaches, canned tomatoes, tomato sauce, canned pears, applesauce,
Hot.
freezer corn.
That one's hot.
My mom didn't like canned corn, so we always did freezer corn. So that's, our freezer was normally full of corn, so we didn't have room for frozen peaches. But my grandma Ashby always had frozen peaches at her house, and she would pull a bag of frozen peaches out of the freezer, and that's what us grandkids would eat. You and your husband make a great team. Thank you, Terry. Yeah, he's a good helper. He preferred to stay off camera, so I let him do the job that doesn't require camera as much. Okay, I'll get that one in just a second. Yeah, some of these are a little too green still. So my girls normally help me do this, but school keeps starting earlier and earlier, so they are at school. So they got out of helping mom do these. And then my daughter is turning 10 this weekend, so she's having 2 little friends over after school today. And I would prefer to have all this mess taken care of before their parents come pick them up and see that my kitchen's full of peaches. Not that that really matters, but I just would prefer that the clutter be gone before we have people over.
Oh, can't do it.
You want to sing them a song, Madeline?
No.
Why don't you sing them your... What song does she keep singing?
Dear ones.
What?
Dear.
Well, sing me a song.
Dear Tina, dear Tina, where are you? How is you? Baby Tina, baby Tina, Daddy Tina, Daddy Tina.
Why don't you sing Brother John?
No.
Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Brother John.
No.
Isn't that the one you sang? What was the one you had been singing? I didn't know who taught it to you. Your sisters taught it. Morning bells are ringing. Morning bells are ringing. Ding dong ding. Ding dong ding. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Brother John. Brother John. Do you freeze the fruit? Yes, Veronica, we do. So I'll show you how we do that here in a second. So now that we've got...
How did you, Mommy didn't know where, Daddy didn't know where are you? How did
Which one?
oh, hot peaches,
Hot peaches, where are you? There they are, there they are. You're funny, you're making up your own song. All right, nope, don't put that in there. All right, so we're gonna take a quart freezer bag. I miss doing things like that with my girls. Do you freeze other fruits? Sometimes we freeze strawberries and raspberries. Or if I get like a really good deal on blueberries, I'll freeze those to put in the smoothies too. But these are the main ones that we like really process, if that makes sense. Okay, so we filled the bag halfway up. We're gonna put it in the water, and that kind of helps push out the air. We're gonna zipper close it with the zipper above the water so it doesn't fill with water. And then we're gonna go ahead and flatten the fruit out. No, don't. You can't get water all over the cabinet, so it will ruin the cabinet, sweetie. And then we're laying them out flat, and then we'll put them in the freezer flat. And once they've frozen in their bag, then we'll stack them in stacks in the freezer, if that makes sense. But if you try to put them all in there in a big stack right to begin with, it's too much mass for them to freeze all at once, if that makes sense. And so it's better to do them in thin layers and then stack them together. And this definitely goes faster if you have a helper. If you have someone that can blanch, which is putting the fruit in the boiling water while you process it, it goes way, way, way faster. Plus, it's funner to have someone else here to talk to. How long do these peaches normally last for your family? It really depends on how many we do. If it was up to my kids, they would have a fruit smoothie every day after school if I let them. But obviously we never do 300 bags of fruit. So they normally last us about 6 months, and that's doing like a fruit smoothie a week or a little bit more than that maybe. Last batch? Okay. It makes me hungry for peaches. Yeah, we wait for peaches all year. We wait for them to come on the orchard, like I said, because if I buy a peach from like Walmart or Winco or Albertsons like that, I'm always a little disappointed because it just does not taste the same. It's kind of like saying that a McDonald's hamburger and a steak sandwich and a steak are the same thing. They're both beef. They're not. I mean, a peach from the orchard just tastes totally different than a peach from like the store. Picking it right off the tree yourself, it just tastes so much better. How do you ripen the other ones? So Beth, that's a great question. So the other ones, we're just going to let them sit on our counter, and there'll be a bunch more ready tomorrow or the next day. We do eat a lot of peaches, just, it's like a boat, huh?
Yeah.
So like the kids they'll eat peaches and milk. No!
Oh.
Well, all right. Well, thanks for helping. That doesn't go in there though, okay? And so we'll eat a bunch of them ourselves. And then what doesn't ripen up, I mean, if too many ripen in one day, then we'll do what we're doing right now, which we'll blanch some of them and process them. But that's probably back there too many for my family to eat. I don't know if you can see how many are left, but there's probably...
Well, if I was eating them.
My husband's doing no carbs right now, so he can't have them. But there's probably there's probably 60 peaches still back there on the counter. We'll probably eat at least 20 of them just fresh, I would think, at least. We may go through more than that, Does one bag make one smoothie? No. Connie, one bag probably makes, well, it makes one full, so it's enough smoothies for like 8 people. But I have 7 people in my family, so if you wanted just one smoothie, I would say do like 1 cup of fruit. But these bags have a lot of fruit in them, so it's definitely enough for a big family smoothie. There's enough fruit in each bag probably to do a small a small peach pie, if that makes sense. There's a lot of fruit in them. Hey, Brittany.
Hi, Brittany.
Say, hey, Brittany, how are ya?
How are you?
Say, what the what?
What the what?
Oh, brother.
Oh, what the?
Her aunt taught her to say, what the what? Oh, brother, when she was here, huh? She was visiting from Minnesota. And she taught you to say, what the what?
What the what?
What the what? She's funny, huh?
Yeah.
We love Aunt Suzanne.
Yeah.
We do. Just calling Kayla and got my brag. Awesome, Brittany! Yay! That makes me happy. That makes my day. Yay, yay, yay. I'm hoping mine show up pretty soon. I ordered a day after most of you guys all ordered though, so. Thank you, Kim. We like her. House is going to be a little quiet for a couple hours twice a week when she starts preschool.
Oh, Buado.
Oh, Buado, huh?
Yeah.
What are you most excited about preschool? You went and saw your school yesterday. What do you think about it? What was your favorite part?
Slide.
The ride?
Yeah.
Oh, the slide.
Slide.
You like the slide outside?
Yeah.
Did you like the little table where you got to sit and color your picture?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet your teacher's going to think you're an awesome colorer. Did you see how good you stayed in the lines? Yeah, that shows that you're a big girl and you're ready to go to school, huh?
Yeah.
They got a new number. Oh, they did, Brittany? Hey, can you make sure you post it on the ATM group for me? That would be awesome. That definitely needs to be something that's updated.
Next time I don't do.
Next time you're going to go to school?
Yeah.
You go next Monday. You get to go to school next Monday for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome, huh?
Yeah. I don't.
Here, sit down. Mommy doesn't want you to fall. There you go.
Mm.
So you liked coloring and you liked the slide. What else did you like? Did you like the other kids?
No.
No? You didn't like the other kids?
No.
Oh, they're going to be your bestest friends. You're going to love them.
I won't.
Yes, we'll do. Awesome, Brittany.
No.
Okay, guys, we're down to 3 more peaches. Well, 4 if you count this one. And then we are done. I got to shower because I got to take treats to my daughter's school today since her birthday is this weekend. So we're going to do that. And then we have friends coming over after school. You got one?
Yes.
It's like catching a fish, but you caught a peach instead, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby peach.
Yeah, this is a baby peach, huh? So this is more like a standard peach that you would find in the store, and this is the size of most of the ones we've been doing today. See the difference? See how these were so huge and why 2 of those makes enough smoothie for a whole family?
Not that 2 peaches.
Hi, this is Madeline from San Diego. I'm enjoying your show. How does Madeline spell her name? Madeline spells her name M-A-D-I-L-Y-N. So very different than yours. But I think yours is more the proper way. Our family's a little quirky. You're that many, huh? Show her how many you are, huh? Are you 3?
Yeah.
My husband, all of our kids have 7 letters in their names.
Yeah.
And we noticed that on kid number 3. We didn't plan it at first. So then my husband felt like we should keep it going. So some of our kids' names are spelled a little different than they would normally be spelled so that they could have the 7 letters. My daughter's birthday's today. Happy birthday! Jenny's daughter.
Not mine.
It is actually. Oh, is that the more common name to spell it the way we spelled it? I don't know. My other daughter's name is Malia, and we spell it totally different than most people spell it. But my mom spelt it, and I let my mom pick how to spell her name, and she spelt it like how you would like kind of phonetically say it. Is that the right way? But it's okay. But it's definitely spelt different than most people spell it. We spell it Maleeya. All right, we're down to 1 more peach,
Yep.
and then we're done.
My dad.
And then we'll have to do this again probably in 2 days. You want to do this peach?
Yeah.
Just let Mom do it. That way we can be done. Mom's tired of doing these. It's not bad though. An hour of peach, and we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. We did 20 bags of peaches in an hour. It's not bad.
I 2 peas.
And then we'll have probably another 3 bags here, I would assume.
I had 2 peas.
Hi from New Zealand. Variety of peaches are these are red globe peaches.
Wet.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and drain our water. And we're gonna fill our bags up over here. Oh, it's actually the French spelling. Oh, okay, yeah, so Madeline is actually named after Grammy Madeline, which was our kids that come from France that stay with us in the summers. That was their grandma. And hers is spelled exactly like yours, actually. And they called her Grammy Madeline. All right, so we're putting these in the water, kind of squishing the air out, making sure the water doesn't get up into the zipper. And it kind of vacuum seals it, and then we're gonna flatten those out. And then as soon as I'm done with this video, I'll go put all of these in our stand-up freezer. Single layered so that they can freeze quickly. Before I put them out there though, you guys, I'm actually going to write the dates on them, just because you'd be surprised how quickly you forget how long they've been in there. And sometimes you'll be doing something, you'll be like, holy cow, this has been in here for 3 years. So always put the date on whatever you freeze. That way you don't end up with crazy old produce that wasn't really worth saving or eating or something like that. And that way you can kind of rotate your stuff and make sure you get it eaten in a timely manner. All right, there we go. Stick this in here. All right, so these are gonna go out to the garden to be mixed in for compost. These, what's left of them, are going to go into the trash. And all of these peaches, all these peach bags are gonna go into the freezer after I put the date on them. And the rest of those peaches back there's a bunch on the counter, and then there's another big bag of them. We have about 60 peaches left. We'll probably process those this weekend. Some of them are green enough that they'll probably stay good another week or so, and we'll just eat those for breakfast in the morning. But other than that, we're done. Does anybody, are they quart-sized bags? Yes, Emily, that's, and you want to make sure you do get the freezer ones. But yeah, those are quart-sized bags. And if you don't have a big family, a quart bag honestly might be too many peaches for you. But it just kind of depends on how. But we have 7 people in our family, so quart size filled. You don't want it stuffed, but I mean, there's a lot of peaches in there. There's, I don't know, I'd probably say 2 pounds of peaches in there. There's a lot. Any other questions before I let you guys go? And once again, thanks so much for watching. I always appreciate it when you guys join us. And Just washing this stuff up because it gets pretty sticky from all the peach juice. This is my Tupperware bowl that I've had for like 20 years. I love it. Use it all the time. I just recently got this Tupperware bowl, but this one is probably my most used bowl that I've ever used. Alright guys, thanks again for watching. Thanks for putting up with me and my crazy hair, my crazy outfit, no makeup, just as is. Talk to you later. Bye.